And we're back on Central Valley Talk. I'm Mike Scott. My next guest, Teri Sherron, who's going to talk about fraud prevention and business identity theft, located in Fresno. It's Teri Sherron's Fraud Prevention Company?
Yes.
Is that the full title?
Yep.
Teri, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
In this heat today, right?
Yes.
But we'll survive somehow. All right, so tell me about your business. What do you do? Who are you aimed at?
Sure. I specialize in working with small business owners to identify the gaps that they may have for their business with regards to business identity theft, and then anything theft or fraud, both internal, meaning employees, or external criminals.
So you're kind of like a little detective agency, or?
Kind of, sort of, yes.
Magnum PI?
Magnum PI.
Teri PI.
I like it.
No. Now, explain business identity theft. I mean, you can steal a person's identity, but do business identities also get stolen?
Yes, absolutely. And it's more prominent than most business owners even realize. So,
explain it to me.
With business identity theft, well, let me go back and explain. Personal identity theft are your personal identifiers. Your name, your address, your social. A business also has an identity, either a tax ID number, business name, business structures as far as if you're an LLC or a corporation. All of those identifiers can be stolen by a thief and utilized to either gain money or turn around and take your business and sell it out from underneath you as a business owner.
Yikes.
Yeah, there's all kinds of different MOs that a criminal can do to an actual business.
So how do you find out if a business has had its identity stolen?
Or
how does the business find out?
Sure, and there's many ways. Most of the time, how a business finds out that they've actually even had a problem is either through their bank or through the tax, the IRS.
They come knocking?
They come knocking. You've made too much money, or you haven't paid enough taxes, or a bank will recognize if there's additional checks or a different style of check that is being utilized kind of out of the norm. You know, if you are local banking with a local banker, most of the time they can pick up, kind of the little nuances of what can go on for a business as far as fraudulent checks.
You mean if a Hello Kitty check shows up?
Yes, exactly. If you're using your standard green style, check, and then, like you said, someone comes in with your routing number and your account number on a Hello Kitty, check, that's a red flag for a banker, especially, as they're seeing your transactions occur.
I'm glad to know that my bank is looking out for those things.
Yes.
And I get the calls every once in a while saying, did you make this charge on your credit card? Yeah. Okay. At least they're watching for unusual activity.
Yeah, but then there's also other areas. For example, the tax ID numbers. A criminal can go onto the state registration system and change an officer of your company to themselves, and you would never know it unless you have a registration alert put into place. Most business owners are not even aware of that, simple step that they can take. Which is to set up the email alert system. Anything changes with your tax ID number, you're going to be alerted. Yeah.
Now, what would be the advantage to somebody making that change?
So if a criminal changes an officer into their name or whatever identity they want to use, they can take that information, go to a bank, and actually conduct, in the bank's eyes, a legitimate transaction. But it's actually a criminal act because it's a fraudulent person conducting the act.
Wow.
So think in terms. If you have a CEO, COO, and a CFO. If I go and I change the COO's identity from male to female and, get all the proper paperwork and I get the new paperwork, I can go into any bank and I can take out a small business loan on the business as the CFO, and the business doesn't know.
And then you hop on a plane to
and then I hop on a plane. Yes, I hop on a plane and go have fun in the sun.
Wow. Does this happen very often?
It does. It happens more often than most people realize. There have been multiple research papers done, one through the banking system. It's the 2012 Banking Trust paper research that was done, and the banking system was what they were trying to measure was the trust level that businesses have with their banking system, because if a fraudulent transaction goes through, then the business owner automatically assumes that the bank should have caught it. And so they get upset and then they change banks. And that happens quite frequently, where so when the banks are looking at, well, what is our trust relationship with our business owners? So that was one big study that kind of shed some light on the prevalence of how business identity theft is actually happening on the financial standpoint. Then when you're looking at the other MOs that go on, it's kind of hidden for several different reasons with regards to the type of crime, the tracking system that America has. If the penal code is such that it's going to say this is a crime that is, I'm losing my thought process here, fraudulent signatures, well, that's not going to be classified business identity theft. That's going to have its own penal code. So it's really hard to track the different types of actual penal codes and connect them to the concept of business identity theft. Much harder than it is consumer identity theft. And the other issue is reporting. As a business owner, if you have a board of directors that you are responsible to report to, do you necessarily want everyone to know that your business has been impacted and been a victim of identity theft? You've got an embarrassment issue. You have, again, whether or not you're going to lose partnerships with other companies because of it. So there's lots of different concerns as to why it's not readily reported as actual business identity theft.
When this kind of crime happens, when somebody goes in and changes the CFO's name, whatever, and withdraws some money, who is on the line? Is it the bank or is it the business?
Great question. So when we're looking at consumer identity theft, the burden of proof, once a consumer says, I didn't do that, shifts back to the bank. So then the banks have to investigate it. They have to replace our monies because of the different laws that are into place. When you're looking at business identity theft and business banking accounts, then the burden of proof is not necessarily on the banking system because, A, as a business owner, you are outwardly giving your information during partnerships and transactions, when you're purchasing supplies or materials. That's one issue, but then also the Uniform Commercial Code for business banking accounts do not have the same protections as a consumer account. So I always encourage all my business owners, understand who you're banking with, understand their fraudulent procedures, understand all the fine print, have a lawyer review, your banking fine print to make sure that you understand who's at fault when something, if and when, a transaction were to occur.
So when businesses hire you, you go over all this with them and say, you need to put this notification in place if somebody tries to change one of the board of directors, or these are all the things you need to watch out for.
Absolutely. And I've just kind of given two, of the tools that I talk about with my business owners, but there's a whole myriad. I have what was called a walkthrough audit instrument that I utilize, and we go to every department of that business. It could be your sales and marketing department, definitely your financial area, your payroll, your income, outgoing expenses, the processes, the policies and procedures that you have into place, hiring and firing, opening and closing. If you have a big safe, what are the policies and procedures into place for that? And then, some of the internet access concerns that may, come up. If a business is utilizing mobile banking, that can be a huge concern. It's convenient, but there are some loopholes there.
It's not real secure.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
So I have a whole audit instrument. I walk the business with the business owner, or if they don't have time, I'll walk the business with their lead staff. And then I develop a nice report, prioritizing 1 through however many, open gaps that we find. Develop a report, prioritize it. This is step 1 you must take care of today. All the way through to step 10.
Well, it sounds like every business could use your services, Teri.
Yes.
You have a website? How do folks reach you?
I actually am right now working on Facebook and word of mouth.
Okay.
And I will have a website up and running soon.
How do folks find you on Facebook?
On Facebook, it's Teri Sherron Fraud Prevention, and my face should pop up. And then also through my phone, and that number is 559-554-7785. Okay.
Anything else you want to add before we go?
Yes, I would. A lot of business owners, this is a fearful area for people.
Scary, yeah.
It's very scary for consumers and business owners. And the best thing to do is to be proactive versus reactive, because in a reactive stance, you could lose a lot of money. You could actually lose your business. So for business owners, it's just a little bit better to be proactive than it is to be reactive. Even though it's a scary issue, you should definitely take that step, just like you would be proactive with your marketing and sales.
Well said. Teri, Sherron, thank you so much for coming in today.
Great. Thank you so
Appreciate
much
it.
for having me.
Teri, Sherron, Fraud Prevention, right here on Central Valley Talk.